All righty, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode, an advancing episode of the Red, White, Claret, and Blue Show. We are your illustrious hosts. I am Alex Baquero. This is Christopher, the therapist Condit, your American villain voices, as always, serving up the lukewarmiest of lukewarm opinions. Please go follow, like, rate, review, subscribe, all the places below our faces. Chris is leaving me alone on this. Oh, there he goes. There he goes.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's been a long day for both of us. It's been a long few days for both of us, I think. We are here today to recap Villa advancing in the Europa League, thank God, with a fairly composed performance against Lille. And then we'll give a little bit of a West Ham preview. As I mentioned, life is life-in for both of us. So, actually, a lot of you have seemed to like and respond to our vibe pods in the past, but that's where we're kind of at with this one. We're just going to go off the top of the dome for both of these. We don't really have a lot structured. We don't have our usual rundown, so apologies if we miss your favorite segment, but as always, slide tackle into those DMs, and one of us will be happy to respond to you.
Most of the time, yes. Afternoon, Alex. How are we?
Good evening, Christopher. I'm okay. I'm super excited. In a little over an hour, my Pennsylvania Quakers will be playing in the NCAA tournament for only the
Quake on
second time, I think, since I graduated, since I went to school there, I should say. Both times we've been a 14 seed, although I felt much more confident about our chances last time. We were very underseeded as a 14 seed, but still couldn't advance. So, looking forward to that one. Got to get out of here quick. Yeah. How are you?
Nice. Oh, I'm living the dream. I have not seen a single second of the NCAA tournament, and I probably will not today. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. I guess I could.
High point, Chris. Great comeback. Did you see?
I saw the highlight, or at least the score. I haven't even seen the highlights of that. But yeah, local High Point here did not have that one pegged. Unlike the Podfather, Patty O. Young nailed that one. But shout out to Patty for hitting that one big. But
I'm surprised after his St. Patty's weekend, Godfather Patty could even see his phone to place that bet. I think he meant to pick Wisconsin and just press the wrong button. Shout out,
I do know I had Wisconsin advancing in my bracket, but I had them out early because I never buy into Wisconsin.
I think I had what is it, Arkansas in the next round?
Yeah.
I think I have them losing to Arkansas.
Yeah. But anyway, I am happy that Villa have advanced in Europa. Not something you and I felt super confident about, but we're here on a 3-0 aggregate win. Maybe not the most beautiful game of football that Villa have ever played, but two very nice goals from very nice phases of play, and survive and advance to steal from March Madness.
Yes, definitely survive and advance. Chris, let's talk about the lineup a little bit. I'm curious your thoughts. A lot of changes. So we finally got a Tammy Abraham start, and we'll talk about his early hook a little bit later on. Still Bogart at right back made sense. Luiz comes back in. McGinn goes wide left this time because Jadon Sancho makes a long-awaited return to the lineup. But Chris, most shockingly, it's a return of Victor Lindelof.
Yeah, the masked man apparently in this one. Yeah, I was I think most surprised by that. The other moves made a lot of sense to me based on rotation or ability. Particularly with Sancho and McGinn flipping and Sancho coming in. If Sancho's on the pitch, that makes sense for McGinn to move to the other side. But I was a little surprised by Lindelof and the fact that Villa remained pretty defensively composed, albeit against a relatively toothless Lille. I still will take that as a win. I think if you could draw up the way that Unai Emery wanted to play this game, this was probably it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I will throw Tammy up there as not quite as surprising as Victor Lindelof, but still pretty damn surprising with how adamant
Unai Emery never goes away from Watkins.
Yeah, like you said, like it made sense from our perspective,
Yeah.
but not necessarily from what we've seen Unai Emery do. Excuse me. Since January, since
Yeah.
brought Tammy in,
Yeah.
and yet even the Lindelof change made sense. Ezri Konsa has been poor,
Yep.
very poor over this stretch. I mean, I would say 99% of the team has been poor over this
Yes.
stretch, but it seems like it is particularly weighed on Ezri Konsa, maybe more so than some other players. It seems like, we talked a couple weeks ago about him getting in the fight with the fans, the Manchester United game, not focusing on his defensive responsibilities and instead deciding to yell at a teammate in Leon Bailey.
Mhm.
As someone that you rightly pointed out recently is probably like the vice captain of the team, clearly he needed a little time away to settle his head, and credit to Victor Lindelof once again, kind of comes completely out of the cold and puts in a solid performance. Very,
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
admirable from him.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I think to some extent, I would have to look up, and maybe that's something we can do for the next pod. I'm curious now, just based on what you were saying, how many minutes has Ezri Konsa played over the last 4 seasons with Aston Villa? Because I feel like he's a guy that is almost always in the team sheet when he's healthy. He almost never misses a game. So I think that it could be that maybe he just needed a little bit of a break, and I'm glad that Villa were able to hold firm. Again, I don't want to take too much away from Leo, but it's not as if Leo were really pressing the issue and coming out. I think I understand what their ultimate goal was to just keep it at 1-0 for the first half and then really try and go for it in the second. But McGinn's early goal in the second half kind of turns like it. The problem with that strategy is one goal turns it entirely on its head, and that's exactly what happened.
I think that's a really good point. Just to your thing about Ezri Konsa, probably a large number of minutes. The only thing that I will say is I think you kind of said it yourself. When healthy,
Yeah,
he always plays. And I think every single year he does seem to get one injury that kind of knocks him out for a couple months, an ankle, a quad, a shoulder. I can't remember like the various ailments that he's had, but I feel like he'll get an injury, he'll be out for 2.5 months, and then he'll come back. And this, remember we were like playing Clement Longley, a left-footed center back at right
yeah,
center back for a little
yeah,
while, because Ezri Konsa was out. That was one a couple years ago. So his minutes might not be through the roof, but he hasn't gotten that injury yet this year, right?
yeah,
So this,
yeah,
well, maybe he won't, I guess, at this
right.
point. But to your point, like every other season, he's gotten a little bit of a break at some
Mhm.
point in the middle of it. And this one, he hasn't. So that might wear on him a little bit. I agree with you about Lille's tactics. That they really did not go for it, and some of their personnel decisions even baffled me. They didn't bring Thiago Santos on until I want to say like the 75th minute or something like that. And I felt like in the first leg in France, he was their most effective attacking outlet. Every single time he got the ball on that right wing, he was creating all kinds of problems for Villa. A couple of their offsides opportunities came through him being able to have some joy down the right side. So the fact that he didn't start and then came on so late really shocked me. I don't really know what they were going for with whether it was Mounier playing that position. I'm not totally sure, but yeah, I don't know. They just didn't really present much of a threat. So,
Right.
not a ton to analyze on their side. I think, as you said, they played right into Villa's hands. So let's talk about Villa. Chris, the first thing that I want to ask you about is this is probably the cynical side of me that's going to propose this. Unai Emery gives Tammy the start and then hooks him on 56 minutes,
I was surprised
which
by
he has
the early
never
hook. Yeah,
done with
yeah,
Ollie Watkins, who has had much worse performances than I feel like Tammy Abraham was giving Aston Villa today. Got a couple shots off. I remember one in the first half that he gets kind of to the left side of the goal. And it was one that Ollie Watkins just doesn't take right now. And at least he fired it on net. So my question to you is, to hook him that early when he hasn't played, clearly not tired, It was after McGinn had scored. We were up 1-0 at the time. Is that more Unai Emery saying, well, now we're 2-0 up. Lille's going to have space in behind. They're there for the taking. Like maybe I get Ollie Watkins some confidence because he's going to be my main man for the rest of the season. Or cynical side, is it him almost to the Villa fans being like, yeah, you asked for Tammy Abraham forever. I put him in, got nothing. And now this is my like quick way of being like, yeah, I didn't get anything out of him. Now I get to go back to my guy.
I would probably think it's the former, but who's to say? Or maybe he's resting Tammy up to start against West Ham. Probably not.
If that's what happens,
if that's what happens, I'm going to come back and cut this up and put it all over the internet that I have read into the mind of Unai Emery. I don't think that's what it was. I think it's probably more the former, though, that this would be an opportunity to get confidence for Ollie Watkins, because at that point, down 2, Lille are going to be with what, like 35 minutes left. Lille are going to be forced to come out and really go for goal. I don't know that there were some chances created because of that. I don't know if there were a ton. They didn't go for it as much as I thought they would. I mean, I would have almost taken the to go back to last season, the Aston Villa against PSG route, where just why not just putting everybody forward? Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? If you end up going down 4-0 on aggregate, then yeah, maybe pull it back. But who cares? Like
when's the last time Aston Villa kept a clean sheet except against Lille, right? Like you should be able to create something if you throw everything at it.
Yeah, just go out there and see what you can do. What, again, the worst that's going to happen is you're going to lose, and you're already losing, so it doesn't matter. I thought that the early hook was interesting, is a nice way to put it. Because Ollie Watkins never gets hooked that early, and he has had some real stinkers, particularly in the last 6 to 8 weeks. So that's an interesting thing to watch, right? And you wonder as a player how that little thing plays in your mind. I don't know. I can only speak to what I would think as a main character syndrome guy, but I would be absolutely in my own head like, wait a minute. How is it that this guy who's throwing out absolute stinkers every week gets 20 more minutes and I get yanked?
Yeah, I was going to say it can't do well to it can't have a positive impact on Tammy's state of mind. Right. So I guess the question is, did it have the intended effect on one Sir Oliver of Watkins, Chris? Are you looking at his performance today and saying, yeah, he's probably going to take confidence from that? Well, let's not even ask about kicking on, because he has not kicked on from any good performance that he's had all season long. But are you even rating that as an Ollie Watkins positive or Ollie Watkins negative?
I think on the whole, positive. If for nothing else, then he made the absolute right play to set up the second goal. That was a really nice ball and really unselfish play at a time where he could have gone for goal and probably not scored. It would have been a difficult goal to score anyway, and Lord knows he's not exactly had his shooting boots for the last 2 months. So I thought laying the ball off to Leon Bailey was a great play to make. And as you and I texted as it was going on, I am pro goal involvements as a manner of getting confidence. So that's good. But then he followed it up 5-6 minutes later by just kicking it straight at the goalkeeper in an open net situation.
Yeah, and that's why it's tough to get a read on his headspace coming out of this one. Even before that, he gets the ball in the middle of the park. He's trying to drive at the defense and just like dribbles right into the defender out of nowhere. He's not really having any luck getting the ball to stick on the long balls. And like you say, immediately afterwards, he's gifted the ball right in front of the net. And instead of trying to shoot or chip it, I think he's trying to slip Douglas Luiz through. I don't really know why. Winds up kicking it right back at the goalie's arms. And so then I look at that in the context of what he did for Leon Bailey and in the context of what we've seen so far. And it seems to reinforce this narrative that he's afraid to shoot. That if he doesn't have that Leon Bailey opening, is he taking that shot? when he's running in? Almost, do you want to see him shoot and miss or try a chip or something just to show that he's got the confidence to take that one on? Because the Louise attempt a few minutes later would say that he doesn't.
Right.
So,
I mean, that is a good point. Yeah. Yeah.
I am with you that in the end, I'm going to hope against hope that goal involvements are good for him and create some kind of foundation for him to kick on. But I'm not necessarily looking at this as Ollie Watkins came on, dominated, showed us the striker that he is, and is giving me all this confidence that if he starts against West Ham, he's going to potentially score again.
Right. I think it's a guarantee starts against West Ham, despite what I just said. But now, one thing we glossed over, we didn't talk about it. You've got to give Emi Martinez credit for that long ball and Jadon Sancho. That's right on both cases. But the first one I'm talking about now, where it went to Sancho, and Sancho did a great job collecting that as well. I think you described it as round one goals, right? Both of them. But that perfect ball from Martinez, Sancho, unbelievable touch to bring it down cleanly and easily and in stride, and then just McGinn on the run on the left-hand side. Perfect run, perfect timing. Everything worked out. It was a blistering counterattack, and exactly what Villa needed in that case.
Incredibly composed finish by McGinn, and when you look at all the goals, 2 unbelievable passes by Emi Martinez, a collection by Jadon Sancho, and then the second goal, it's Buendia playing a beautiful one-touch pass, perfectly curled, perfectly weighted over the top to Ollie Watkins, who squares to Leon Bailey, who scores. 5 out of those 6 guys that I mentioned have been incredibly maligned by the Villarati.
And us. I mean,
and us over recent weeks. We are absolutely a part of all of those, except maybe Emi Buendia. We've been a little bit lighter on him than I think most other people, given his goal contributions this year. Just interesting. I don't know. I don't really know what to say other than that it's 5 guys that have certainly been getting killed by a lot of Villa fans that ultimately came through and sealed the victory for us today.
Maybe they can't be poor all the time, right? Eventually.
Shocker. There actually is a middle ground where they're not.
Yeah,
they're
actually decent players. Yeah. So I was glad to see it. I was glad to see 2 well taken goals, and they weren't scruffy, and they were definitely, direct big ball forward, all those sort of things. Not exactly, dominating the ball and working through against a low block. But again, as I always say, it's great to see the ball hit the back of the net, and you hope that builds confidence going forward, because I think Villa are going to need it in the upcoming schedule.
Very much so. So listen, if you're going to pick out a bad point, do you want to kind of dominate this game at home 3-0, really leave no doubt? Sure. But ultimately, I think right now beggars can't be choosers. You advance, and in cup football, all you need to do is advance. And you know what we get next? We get Bologna. You're my lucky charm. Throwing it back to the days when we were able to make our trip out to Villa Park ourselves. Shout out to all those people on Twitter that say that we've never spent a minute in Villa Park.
Paul and Doug, feel free to reach out. We'll see if we can get over there for
exactly
the home leg.
So, listen, not much else to say about this one. Villa survived, Villa advanced, and hopefully they built a little confidence. Most for this Sunday's game against West Ham before the international break. This is a huge one for Aston Villa, huge one for West Ham. Sunday, 10:15 a.m. Eastern time at Villa Park. Chris, last time we met, it was a 3-2 victory. We got a Morgan Rogers double, benefited from an own goal on a beautiful cross. I think it was by John McGinn. That's off of Mavropanos' head. Relatively 50-50 game otherwise. We did need to come back once again in that one. Part of our, actually, with how bad we've been recently, Chris, can you believe that we still have the Premier League lead in points gained from losing positions?
Well,
yes, I saw that during the United game. 19.
We were down so many times, early in the season and came back. That makes sense. But I think
about this, Chris. Real quick. Actually, you just made me think of this. So we talked a couple weeks ago about how you can say that probably 17 matches this season, when you take the first 5 with the recent run, Villa have been trash, right? Trash, just losing. Then you throw in another 19 points gained from losing positions, where Villa started the game behind first. How close were we to being relegation fodder this year?
That was what the point I was going to bring up in a different way, but that is the most unsustainable part about this season, right? Like, in retrospect, we should have seen, like, no, you can't go down a goal and not have a shot on. And I know you said it, right?
That is not fair. I said that repeatedly when we were going behind every week.
You can't go a goal down and often not have a shot on target in the first half. Like, those two things will not lead to success in the long run. So, I
feel prophetic. Call me Villa Jesus.
You are also Jewish.
I am also Jewish.
You two have that in common. The other thing that I would point out is we did have one shot on target in the first half against Lille, a single shot on target, the only shot on target in the first half, if I remember right. Or did they get one late? I don't remember. They might have.
I don't remember.
Either way. So I think if we look ahead to this game, right, Nuno has them playing much better football than they were early in the season. And they're on a decent run, particularly for a relegation, zone team, where they've only lost, I think,
they've only lost 2 of 12.
Yeah.
And in only 3 of those games, Chris, have they given up more than 1 goal.
Yeah. So, that's what we've come to expect, though, from Nuno Espirito Santo, though, right? Is well-organized, well-drilled defensive teams that play very direct football, right? It doesn't matter who he's got. This is what he's going to play. And so credit to Nuno for the transformation, because he's got them right. Like, if I were to ask you right now, it is March 9th, the evening of March 19th. We'll be releasing this, you'll probably be hearing it March 20th. If I were to ask you right now, which of these two teams is going down, West Ham or Tottenham? Which one are you picking the way they're playing?
I might say Tottenham.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It might not come to those two, but
you've got right Forest in there as well, but yeah.
Yeah, with the way West Ham are playing, how effective they have been, and it's not just been against other teams around them at the bottom of the table, outside of when they got absolutely smashed by Liverpool. Since February, they've been extremely effective in gaining points. So I am nervous about this contest. I don't feel great about where Aston Villa sit and how West Ham are playing. I think if there's one player, and then I'll turn it over to you here, but I think if there's one player that you can kind of put this on, it's Somerville. He had his recent form has been spectacular. Just game-changing type stuff for him. And this is the player that I think everybody was hoping West Ham would get when they bought him.
Yeah. And actually, I will say on a quick Google search, I think he's actually out injured until April 4th. So we may get lucky on that one.
Nice. Well,
I'm looking for some latest news, because last I saw was day to day, but it's listing his anticipated return as
April 4th.
April 4th.
I do not mean to say nice to that. That's terrible. That was an
injury.
Yeah, that was a poor reaction. That's too bad for them, because he's been such an.
He's been playing very well. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
And I think he's someone who really benefits from a Nuno system, right? Pacey, tricky winger. This certainly plays to at least Jared Bowen's old strengths. I don't know how much pace he's got now, but and Nuno does seem to do well against this iteration of Aston Villa, right? Didn't his Forest team beat us 3-1 at one point when we really needed a win? They are much more narrow in their defensive shape. And I will say as well, when a team goes on a run like this, right, loses 2 of 12, we have to look at it. Do the performances kind of match that, or are they getting lucky? And all the underlying metrics I've looked at support the sustainability of this for West Ham United. They've gotten some really good results in that run as a result. Man City, Man United draws, played Chelsea really well during it, and drew Brentford, there's like they haven't played crap through
Right.
that. They've really gotten some good results, and so I do think that they're clearly built for this fight. They are well coached for this fight, and them coming to Aston Villa, it really does kind of play into their hands, into Nuno's hands of how he wants to run a game. Villa being the home team, Villa being an Unai Emery team, are going to try to impose their will with increased possession. West Ham are not going to necessarily come out the way that we might want them to, and so it's going to be on Villa once again to break down a mid-low block and not be vulnerable to a pacey transitional attack and situational presses, which has basically been the recipe to destroying Aston Villa over the past 2 months.
That's a great point. I would also tell you that their statistics, their splits home and away are remarkably similar. Like they're 42% possession at home, 43% away. They're like half a shot difference in terms of shots per game. The goals are almost exactly even, not evil.
Hey, it'll be evil if they get a few of them.
That's true. But so like I guess what I'm getting at there is they are consistent regardless of where they play. And again, that doesn't surprise anyone that has watched Nuno and his teams over the last handful of years, that he's been coaching in England. So I think that they certainly need this game. But they're also, I think they are probably aware that right now a point a game is probably going to be enough for them to find a way out. So they would be happy just playing to a draw. But the point you just made is one that I wanted to raise. They seem like they're perfectly set up to beat Aston Villa the way that Aston Villa has been getting beat for the last 2 months.
So what do you think we're going to see from Villa, Chris? Lineup
in terms
and
of
score.
Lineup? Is that what you're asking?
Lineup and score. We can do score after.
Is Cash healthy? Do we know about that yet? Is he going to play?
He played the last 20 minutes today.
Oh, did he? Okay. See, I didn't. Yeah.
So he did come off the bench, which
sorry guys,
I
conference
think
calls, actual work.
Which I think does actually indicate that probably Unai doesn't want him to start.
So that looks like Cash will play. Then obviously Martinez in goal, Cash, Konsa will play. From there, I would probably say Pau and Dean, based on Maatsen started this game today. It's going to be Onana and Luiz, I would assume. And then after that is the question: do you go Morgan Rogers on the right? Morgan Rogers. No, you go McGinn on the right, Buendia center, Rogers on the left. Ali up top, I think, is what Emery's going to do. Is it what I would do? Probably not, but I think that's what Emery's going to do.
Yeah, I have a closely similar lineup. Sancho did get an assist today, so I think we might kind of roll out much the same of what we saw today, with the differences being Cash, Konsa, Pau, Dean. Ooh, I really don't like switching up 3 defenders game to game. And you could make an argument that Unai Emery is going to switch up all 4 and go Cash, Konsa, Mings, Dean. That what he does with the back line, I think is going to be very curious for me. Maybe Cash, Konsa, Pau, Maatsen, although he does seem reticent to do that back to back. I don't know. Onana, Luiz, I agree. I think you'll see the same front 3 though, or 3 attacking midfielders. So McGinn left, Rogers centrally, Sancho right, but then you'll get Ali Watkins up top instead of.
I think the one thing that we really need to create here, though, you mentioned the West Ham defensive setup. Creating width is going to be key here to make them defend those wide areas.
Oh, we won't, Chris. We won't.
Well, but then you're playing right into their hands,
We won't. but when we've been saying for weeks that the key is going to be creating some width to create opportunities, and that has virtually never happened. Certainly hasn't over the past month or two. So
if it doesn't happen,
that's going to happen all of a sudden?
Slog. I mean, it's going to be an absolute slog.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, if that's like if Villa play exactly the way West Ham would want them to play, I'll make a prediction on the score then, and I'm going to say it's 1-0 West Ham.
So Villa have been scoring a goal typically in most games. So
Okay.
I'm gonna go with a 1-1 draw.
All right.
Yeah. I
I just
don't I really I can't I still cannot predict Aston Villa to win at this point. I think a draw is me clinging to hope over hope, and that's just that Nuno's teams don't come out a ton. West Ham also only scores 1 goal in most games that they're playing nowadays.
Mm.
So I think that yeah, it's either gonna be 1-1 draw or a 2-1 West Ham victory.
All right, well, neither of us very confident, I think, is what the takeaway is here on that one. So we will
Yeah,
see on Saturday or Sunday. Good Lord, I don't even know what day that we're on here. Sunday, right? Sunday, because it's the
Sunday.
yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, I'm nailing this pod.
You're doing great, sweetie. Um, YouTube shout outs as always to Black Country Villain. We love your optimism, man. It
Yep.
really brightens my day every time we see your comments. So keep slide tackling in there.
Yeah.
But to everybody else, until next time, up the Villa.
Up the Villa.
Hi, Mom and Dad.